Ooh, thank you so much. So before we get started, I just want to kind of break down the flow of today's panel. Prowess and I are probably going to start some questions. There's going to be some nice discussion, some nice insights and experience expressed here. And then at the last part of the panel, we will be doing a question answer. And then we will also let the folks know how to follow these wonderful women here on our right. Does that sound good to everyone? Sweet. All right. So Prowess, do you want to kick off the first question?
I'd love to, yes. I'd like to ask this question to anybody on the panel, actually, to begin. But can you tell us how you got into being a creative?
I'll start. So I guess I identify as a creative in ways probably not like other folks like in the room. So I guess, I'm a writer, I'm a teacher. And so for me, I like to use the classroom to help develop folks who want to be in y'all's shoes one day. Want to connect them to resources, want to hype them up, build their confidence up, so from what the panel told us earlier, and a lot of our confidence is waned because, for a lot of us, we don't see ourselves in these industries and in these jobs, and we don't think that it's something that we can do as queer folks or trans folks or black folks. And, think about how the world continues to tear black women down. So a lot of times we spend a lot of time hyping each other up and building each other up. So I think that's what I like to do in my mentorship and in the classroom. And really just, as Brother Mark had said earlier, pointing people to like the resources and helping them identify the resources, like to let them like get in the space and to support them like once they get inside the space. So I'm kind of like a support network for folks, as opposed to like I'm not like a content creator in that way. I write books and shit, so that may be like content like that I write, so maybe that's the content that I do. Yeah.
So I've been writing my whole life. I wrote a book in first grade called Swimming Disaster.
Come on now.
I sold 3 copies.
Oh. Hey, a win.
No, well, I only made 3 copies, so I'm a bestseller.
You sold out.
Yes. Come on. Although, ironically, I made all 3 copies by hand, and I was devastated to part ways with them, so I bought the copies back. I do still have one framed in my office. It's interesting because I didn't realize screenwriting was a job until I got into college. But I thought I wanted to write books, but I was told, first of all, we only read books in school by white authors. And many of those books, we were told, oh yeah, they kind of lived in poverty and obscurity until they died, and then people discovered their books, and now their books are famous. And I'm like, well, that sounds terrible, so I guess I won't be a writer. And then I thought the only other kind of writing was journalism. And so I enrolled in college for journalism. I went to USC, and then I found out about the film school my first week. And I applied to transfer. I met someone who was in the screenwriting program, and I was like, no shit, that's a job. And I applied to transfer from the journalism school to the film school. I wrote my first script in Microsoft Word because I just didn't know any better. It was terrible. And they rejected me. They're like, girl, this is awful. Never contact us again. And then I applied again the next year, and I miraculously caught up and was still able to graduate in 4 years. So ever since then, I have been writing, thank God, for film and television. And the creativity was always there, even before I knew a discrete outlet for it. But that's kind of how I got into it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Miss Cynthia.
What do you want me to say?
Go on.
I sang Snake Eater. No, but even before then, I'm not a content creator, although I'm working my way up to doing that. Hopefully by the time I get back home to Atlanta and get set up, you guys will see me actually playing Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when Delta comes out on Twitch.
Nice.
Now, when I left home the other night, I think I had gotten to the extreme area of Sons of Liberty, 5 seconds into me actually getting on and playing Extreme for the first time, because normally I play easy or very easy, I was dead within like 5 seconds. So, but I'm not a content creator, but I love video games, and I've been playing them. My son is 38. He asked for a Nintendo when he was 3. We went to Toys R Us, and he stood where when you used to have to pick the little tickets out. He stood in that aisle for like an hour or two, and I'm standing there saying, my head hurts. I need to go. My head hurts. And he finally found what he wanted. We got his system, got it home. When he was in school, I would sneak in his room. I'd sneak in his room, and I think one of the first ones I played was Zelda,
Yes.
Mario,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
What was the one with the duck with the gun? Duck Hunt. He just told me 3 weeks ago. He said, "I knew you were in my room." He's a Scorpio, so he kind of he's very, very, very neat and he knows where his things are. I said, "No, you didn't know I was in your room, because I never touched anything except for what I had to play." But I've been playing since then. I had to play as he was learning to read, to teach him what it was saying on the screen. And I fell in love with it, playing with him. We grew up playing games together. And then when it got to the point of where there were games that he couldn't play and I could play, that's when I really got hooked. After I did Metal Gear, I played for the first time after the game was released in Tokyo, and Konami sent me PlayStation, Metal Gear 3. This was 2 days after I got home from singing Snake Eater for the first time. Got home, someone knocked at the door, it was there, and I got into it, and I haven't been off of it since. Haven't been off of it since. So this, my first con, this has just been a blessing to me, to be here with everybody that loves to play, that loves to get into all the games. And I love everybody. As I was walking from my room to tonight, people were stopping me. Are you? Yes. Had to take pictures and all of that. I probably won't say anything else after this.
Yes, we love
But it's been an experience that I have enjoyed, and I love being here for the past couple days, just to be close to all of those that have been close to me all these years, and I didn't know that you were close to me. Thank you very much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I'm going to shut up.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
Very, very much so beautiful. So, a little earlier, we were talking about some of the not challenges, I would say, but some of the things that we kind of had to break through our own, how would I put it? Not imposter syndrome, but I would say just barriers that we would have to pass through, right? Just to get the things that we want to grow into our careers. So my next question here is, for anyone here on my right, do you feel that you had to break glass barriers to earn recognition for your work?
Go ahead, Zoe. Go ahead, Zoe. I felt it. I felt your energy.
Ah.
Can I start first? I left Old Chicory today after doing autographs. I said to myself before I came here, I'm doing adult time. I just stopped and I'm a little sloshed. I've had 2 glasses of wine. But I said it's adult time. When I came out and I was on my way up to my room, there's an artist here. His name is Chris. He's playing in one of the bands somewhere. I'll find it so you guys can follow me because I may sing Snake Eater again. He said, "We never knew you were black."
Yeah.
When he said that, I stood by the long line of at the elevators, and it touched me a lot. That people didn't know that I was a black singer, or that we've had so many people to have covered Snake Eater who were non-black over the years since I first did it 20 years ago. But they never knew that I was black. And that really sent something through me, that probably until I got here a couple of days ago, or people have followed me over the past couple of days, or past couple of months, nobody really knew that I was black. But I am, and I'm proud.
Yes, ma'am.
Hell yeah. That is right. That is right.
I will attempt to control the rage in my voice because I've been in therapy about this for years. So, aside from the fact that I've spent my whole life being told, "You're so articulate." So I'm gonna brag on myself for a moment.
Please do it.
So I am on the board of directors of the Writers Guild of America. Thank you. I'm serving my third term, and I am the youngest board member in the history of that union. I was elected to the board at 26. I just turned 26. And the tremendous disrespect that I faced from predominantly white male showrunners who I will not name here, literally yelled in my face, called me girl, even though I'm a grown woman, who frequently were like, "Were you old enough to remember this?" And I was like, "Yes, you asshole, that show was on Netflix. Yes, I've seen it." I've been on set where, I am the producer of the episode, and there are members of the crew who are not listening to directives that I've given them. And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm going to ask so-and-so." And I'm like, they work for me, so I can save you a call if I didn't have to repeat myself. It's just constantly having to walk this line of being obviously respectful of other people, but having to stand in your power and hoping that you aren't immediately dismissed as uppity or angry. I feel like I've had to navigate a tremendously stressful career. It's been fruitful, but stressful, and I can only exist on a limited spectrum of emotional expression. And so, I've seen my colleagues throw things on set, which is so inappropriate. But I worked for a man who punched through drywall because he was upset about a deal that was closing. Not that I would ever do those things, but what a privilege to be able to do that and still have your job.
100%.
I was on a show where they had a storyline where they wanted to have a character, a black man. This was a magical show. I'm not going to say it, but if you looked at my credits, you could probably figure out what it was. A black character who had magical powers, but he was like in, just human form. And he just bought a new iPhone, and he was called away for an emergency, and they wanted him to run out of the store with the new iPhone, without a bag, without a receipt, and go handle the emergency. And I was like, "We can't do that." And they're like, but it's important. I was like, there's plenty of shit Black people deal with that are important, and we still are not running out of stores with expensive products without proof of purchase. Like, and I was the only person on this show, of all the writers, producers, directors, the entire crew, and everyone at the studio and the network, I was the only Black person on the show. We had 3 Black actors, and I was the only person responsible for the story that they were gonna have to portray who was Black. And I had to fight and be like, as the only person here with a Black father, Black brothers, who's lived every day of my life as a Black person, I assure you I am the authority on this. Like, you need to trust me. On this same show, they also wanted to whip that same character, but it was a magic whip. And I was like, for the love of God, please. I was like, I'm trying to save y'all from the rage of groups of people. And sometimes I felt a little bit like I was in the sunken place. I was like, I must be losing my mind, because it feels a little bit like you're shouting into the void, where I constantly have to prove this is a real thing. This may not be your experience, but I promise this is real. And it's also tremendously stressful that I am also sometimes on the receiving end of the ire of a lot of people who will look up the credits on a show and be like, you're Black and you were on the show. Why did this happen? And I'm not going to explain to every single person on the internet. It's like, that ultimately was not my decision. But it sucks because I am expected to be an arbiter of Black culture. Yes. And sometimes if I'm the only woman, like, of womanhood. So that is a tremendous cross to bear that sometimes made me want to leave the industry as a whole. But at the same time, I just refuse to leave my people in a lurch. I refuse to leave the younger version of myself who really, really needed to see my humanity on screen. I won't let her down, so I continue to do it. But yeah, it's a fight every day.
Thank you so much, Zoe. So Kishonna, I heard a lot of. Can we see if Kishonna can react real quick? I heard you making some noise down there. Yeah. I want to know what's running through your brain real quick. Oh, that's not disregarded. I see you.
First day on the job, tenure track, my first professorship. It was first day of class. I was making copies of the syllabus. This was more than a decade ago when we made copies. Like, it wasn't just digital, right? So I was making copies of the syllabus. I was in the copy room, and another professor, lovely white dude, walked in and said, do you mind making 120 copies of this for me, please? So I said, sure thing. Okay. Somebody else came in and asked me to do a similar favor. I said, okay, sure thing. I was late for class that day because I was performing these tasks that was assumed of me, right? Let me fast forward a little bit. I had a night class, and at the end of the night class, I was, putting the tables back in order, and somebody assumed I was the custodial staff, right? And so they were asking me to also do the same in some other rooms that, hadn't yet been cleaned. I did it all gladly and with a smile on my face. Now, why did I do all that, right? My grandma told me there's no task that's beneath me, no matter what my credentials are. So being assumed to be the secretary that's not a shameful thing. I'm not ashamed of that. Being assumed to be the janitor or the custodian, I'm not ashamed of that. There's beautiful honor in those jobs, right? But it's when I'm not assumed to be anything else in this space that bothers me. Why are you not ever assuming that I am the professor in this space? Why are you not assuming that I'm the director of this lab that you just walked in? Because we never assume up, especially for Black women in the space. For a long time, I was told to even hyphenate my name, Kishonna. That's too Black. That's too ghetto. I'm like, that's a badge that I wear proudly. Let me add that. I'm not gonna hyphenate my name just so you can assume a masculine identity or so you can assume a racialized identity. I want you to know that I'm Black. I want you to know that I'm a woman in this space. Now, with that comes a whole lot of shit that we got to deal with, right? A lot of assumptions. Oh, the ageism too, like inverted ageism, right? Because we look so young in this space. Like, I'm 40 plus. Like,
Because it don't crack.
I'm 40 plus.
Can I just say, your skin is reparations in action. Not a wrinkle in sight.
I love you, Zoe. I love you, Zoe. I love y'all. Yes, ma'am. Give it a mic. Yes, ma'am. Come on, 64. Come on. Y'all know we ain't cracking out here. Y'all know we ain't cracking.
64
Ooh.
tomorrow.
Yes,
and I looked
ma'am.
at myself this morning in the mirror, and it's like, all these people are young here. They don't want to see me. And when I looked in the mirror, it's like, girl, you look fucking good.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. That's right.
Yes.
Yes. That is, yes. I'm just going to say the fact that my next question leans on that, because we've talked about implicit bias, and right, it's very hard to hide who you are when you wear the face that elicits that implicit bias. So how do you kind of think about, as you're forging your path, what would you recommend to be a proper path for diversifying these spaces, or how do you expand sort of proper representation in gaming spaces? What can people do to ensure that, other than make sure that they are trained with their implicit bias and acknowledge those things?
I want to make sure I understand what you just asked. So you want the path for us inside those spaces, or how they can do better in those spaces?
How people in our spaces, in gaming spaces, can do better.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. There's no one way, right, to show up for folks like inside these spaces. I think earlier in the panel, I think one of the things that was uttered was like listening and hearing folks, right? I think Trill may have, mentioned that, of like listening and paying attention to like what the needs of the space are. Because a lot of times, especially in this DEI, advocacy, ally space, they're like, oh, if I do this, and then that's enough, right? That might work in one space. You might go to another space, and that's not what folks like need like at all, right? Yep. And so we have to understand that there is not like a singular template, and we also are not a monolith. Yes. All of our needs are not the same. What this black woman needs is different from what these black women need, right? So you have to show up, and you have to be listening and be attentive to like what their needs are, right? Mm-hmm. But I think also then how we even speak up for ourselves are different, right? We don't need psychology degrees to like recognize some of the harms that have transpired, and how like some of these spaces like need to do better and be better. We know this shit has happened. So you should know like, oh, they're coming in. They might have a lot of things that they're bringing in with them. Oh, this is her 4th job. Oh, she's bringing in a lot of stuff. Oh, she's been on these sets. Oh, she's bringing in a lot of this stuff. Oh, she's been in the industry. She's going to be bringing in a lot of this stuff with her. So we have to be mindful and attentive, to how we're showing up for folks. But there's no one singular way. But if I can just offer some advice, really listening is like one of the first things. And also don't be scared to show up. That's been one of the most frustrating things, right? Where you got these folks who will support you like in private. Oh, Kishonna, oh my gosh, I saw what happened. I can't believe that happened. How can I help you and support you? Bitch, why didn't you say something in a meeting when I needed you to say something in there? Don't be sending me no DMs asking me, oh, Kishonna, I can't believe that.
Can I piggyback on that?
Please.
Okay, do y'all know the phrase, not all skin folk are kinfolk?
Oh, yes.
I need you to tattoo that on your fucking brain. Do not be the Clarence Thomas of your department. I really mean that. Obviously, we are not responsible for our own oppression. However, you get to determine whether or not you ingest all of the white supremacy that we are swimming in. So whether you are a member of a marginalized group or not, if you're a member of the marginalized group, please advocate for fellow members of that group. And even if it's not, sometimes it's not safe to say something in the meeting, and that's okay. Yeah. But you need to let that person know when it is safe. Hey, I see you, I'm there for you. There are many times, you know, even on the board, when we're voting on, do we give an award to this person? Do we appoint this person to XYZ? And I'll bring up a Black creator, and some of my white contemporaries will be like, oh, but we need someone prestigious. I was like, this woman created one of the most prolific Black sitcoms in television history. Just because you haven't seen any of her work isn't an indictment on what she's accomplished. So sometimes when you are the only person in the room, you can advocate for other people who do deserve to be in that space. You can validate the credentials and the worth of those people. And then for people here who do have a level of privilege, just protect those groups with your privilege. My husband is whiter than Casper the Friendly Ghost. And do you know what he does when we go shopping? He pushes the fucking cart. He carries the bags because I have anxiety about walking through those little detectors or walking past security, even though I have my receipt. They have cameras that show me paying for everything. And he understands that. Our third date together, we went to Target, and he instinctively did that for me, and we didn't even need to have a conversation about it. I was like, oh, he's not a regular white. He's a spicy white. I could marry this spicy little aioli.
Shout out to Mason Lieberman. Just making sure that gets into the video.
I actually yesterday I had to sign autographs in the autograph section of here. And as much as I love to have been here and being here right now, for some reason my merchandise showed up missing. I sent it over a month ago. Didn't get here. The one thing I kept telling myself was, don't be the angry Black woman so that they don't walk away thinking you're the angry Black woman. So I had to literally make myself be the sweetest angry Black woman that they ever saw, and said, get my shit here immediately. I'm not paying for it. Somebody's gonna pay for it. Get it here. So if you all, Rock Island, go there. I got merchandise over there. Go get it tonight. If you want me to sign it, find me, and I'll sign it. But I had to, it was a shame that I had to even think that to myself, is don't say nothing. Don't make any comments. But I did it in a way to where, okay, my shit's not here. And I even thought, if my shit's not here, I'm not going to be here. But then I had to think, no, I'm committed to this, and I'm going to do it at a certain level of dignity and grace that my parents taught me.
That's right.
And not embarrass my family. And it got done because people could see from my face. Get this shit together.
So, to piggyback off of that snafu, I was there with her, and I made sure to put the pressure on to make sure that we got it correct. Now, it wasn't correct because it wasn't there, but the whole point was I made sure to push, and me as somebody who's like, no, her concerns are legit and valid, and we cannot ignore this. We have to get it right. So luckily I was part of the party to keep her supported in making sure that she had merch on time for her to sign. So then that way all the people who love the career, the love everything about Cynthia Harrell, that they can take something home in memory of meeting her and the experience of meeting with her. So I made sure to get it right.
Thank you.
Of course.
The point I wanted to make is that I didn't, my first instinct was to go there. How come my shit's not here?
Yeah.
Everybody else's is here.
Right.
Everybody else's stuff is filled in that room. Where's mine? Why is it not there?
That's right.
And then the spirit that I have inside of me said, you don't have to go there. But I don't want us to ever, in any industry that we're in, as black women, to say to ourselves, you ain't got to go there. If we got to go there, then we got to go there.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes we gotta go there.
And
That's right.
sometimes we got
That's
to
right.
go
Yeah,
there
that's
real
right.
deep, no matter what anybody thinks or feels about it.
And also, we cannot gaslight ourselves. Because there are going to be people who are like, that's not a big deal. You're fine. No, that shit's not okay.
Right.
So even if we are in a situation where we cannot rectify the problem, you cannot gaslight yourself into thinking there was never a problem. Just because we have to push forward doesn't mean we have to play these Jedi mind tricks to pretend like something racist or sexist or ageist did not just occur.
That's right.
You mean we're allowed to feel feelings?
Yes, we
Oh my
are.
goodness. So radical.
I wish, but I think there's the problem right there is that there's not like an ethic of care, especially around black women. And this is across industries. You know, if you think about mortality rates, you know, how black women die at the rates that they die at, you know, like education level, like all kinds of things. Like there's like not this ethic of care because people don't think black women experience whatever they experience. Like we don't experience pain. We can't be harmed, you know, because we're so strong and all that. And then people really believe that. People really believe that. And then these microaggressions turn out to full out aggressions. And then I'm thinking about, you know, as Sister Cynthia was just talking, I'm thinking about how we have to then process that the emotional labor. Like what does that do internally? Whenever, think about just like you getting ready, like I hope it's going to be all right. I hope it's going to be good. I hope my merchandise is there. You know, I hope folks gonna show up right. Like, is the set gonna be right? Like, you know, you hope that, but then we have to do all this work and all this labor over and over again in every space that we're in, and we are tired. We're tired. But we still gotta show up because we're gonna show up for each other. We're gonna show up for other folks, especially younger folks. We're gonna always show up, you know, because we've been in these industries, you know, for a minute. You know, and then I think one of the things when I look back, sorry if this is one of y'all's questions, I'll stop. But one of the things that, you know, think about how long we've been on panels like this and how often we get asked like the same question. Like I've been answering the same question about how is the industry going to improve for whatever population. Same answers for 15, 20. I've been answering the same questions like over and over again. Because we're asked these questions all the time. You can go to just a regular ass panel here. You don't hear conversations like this. You don't hear them saying, how can we make it better for folks of color? And then nobody is asking themselves that question. We sitting here, we got books, we got templates, we got podcasts, we got Twitch stream, we all kind of shit, you know, that outlines everything that we need. But if this is not being translated to the institutions in which we're residing in, I'm not going to be jaded in here. I'm not. I don't want to do that. But I will say, I felt, Sister Cynthia, I feel your frustration. And I'm so sorry that stuff wasn't how it needed to be for you.
But it got fixed.
Yes, ma'am. But I'm going to say, what if we didn't have a V in the room?
It got fixed.
What if there's not a V in the room?
There should always be a V in the room.
It should
That's
always
the-
be in the V in the room.
It got fixed within 5 minutes. My manager called me and
Beautiful.
said,
Good.
don't worry about it.
Good.
It's on the way.
Good.
I was supposed to be signing autographs at 2 o'clock. At 1:30, she said, they on their way to go pick up the shit that
Good.
was supposed to be
Good.
here.
Good.
I
Good.
said, but I'm on my way walking to where I'm supposed to be signing autographs. And somebody told me, don't worry about it.
Good. Good.
But I didn't have to get ugly.
Good.
But I was about to get ugly up in this bitch. I was about to get real ugly, which I did not want to do because a lot of people here under this roof have not seen me in person since I sang Snake Eater.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't want to go there. But it got fixed. Thank you, Missy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got you.
This is a
I got you.
question. I don't know. I just want to add one
Yes,
more
please,
thing.
please, please, please. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what you were saying, how we keep being asked to be on these panels. We keep being asked to be on panels for free. I am not about to fly my ass from Los Angeles International Airport, one of the worst airports in America, using my US dollars to the Capitol to speak on a panel for free. I don't know where this phrase came from, and I would tattoo it onto my body if not for the fact that it would give my mother a stroke. But fuck you, pay me.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I want us to be in the room, but I also don't want us to be the least paid motherfuckers in the room. I like money. I like owning a house. I like driving a car. I like eating food. Like, I refuse to be coy about that. I have an incredibly impressive lawyer, manager. I have 5 different agents. And even I have to sometimes check their bias where I'm like, I want you to squeeze that studio for every fucking dollar that they have.
That's right.
And pay me.
That's right.
Because yeah, like I am
That's right.
well compensated. I want the most fucking money you can get out of this media conglomerate.
Exactly.
Because I have generations of oppression to make up for.
That's right.
And
that is right.
I am saying this because I also want us to stop undervaluing our goods and services. Like, yes, I was thrilled that MAGFest asked me to participate, but it would have been a no for me, dog, if they were not paying me a speaker fee and flying me across the country and putting me up. I am not going to spend money to sublet my life experience to a conference full of strangers. I'm not going to do that. I am constantly asked to undervalue my goods and services and experience. And I also believe friends don't let friends, and I consider all of my skin folk my friends. We don't ask each other for discounts.
That's right.
I have friends trying to get careers off the ground, trying to get businesses off the ground, and they're like, yeah, girl, you know, I have a friend who started a bakery, and she's like, yeah, you know, I'll get you some free cookies. I was like, no, you won't. You will charge me what your cookies cost.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm paying for these cookies.
And if I can't afford your cookies right now, I will order them when I can afford them. But empires are not built on giving everyone the friends and family discount, and I'm trying to get all of us to be some rich motherfuckers in this bitch. Because it matters. It really matters. So I need us to move from a mentality of being just so grateful to be in the room. You deserve to be in the room, and you deserve to be fairly compensated for being in the room.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Amen. I was just adding that one of the things I feel like a couple of years ago, I was the subject of a Washington Post article because I had a best friend who told me to negotiate for myself, no matter what the salary was, right? That no matter how excited that I was for that 6-figure salary for the first time, to be like, no, that's not enough. Tax them. Make sure that you do that. Do your due diligence also. Make sure you do your research. Find out what this salary pays, what this position pays across the country, geographically. What should you be making? Ask your peers. Talk to my peers. And at that point in time, the woman's doing that. And this was a couple of years ago. Pay equity is a thing. We are struggling with that. So it's also about knowing Black women are not arcane. The black magic thing has gone too far. We are human. And with that comes the identity of that we need to be treated with respect and dignity and integrity. And so I just wanted to add that note.
Absolutely. That's right.
Thank you so much. Yes, 100,000% of everything that's been going on this panel. Thank you so much, ladies. We are at the point of questions from the audience. Who would like to start? All right.
Well, I love you all. I was trying like this whole thing. Oh, hello. Okay. Thank you. I am really grateful for what you said, Zoe. I'm really grateful for what you all said. Miss Cynthia, I'm really glad that you shared that. I just started getting into video games, everything that you shared. I've never met an older Black woman who's liked video games, and that really touched my heart, and I just couldn't stop crying. I've been in nerdy spaces since I was like 11, not necessarily video games, although I was a Kingdom Hearts stan.
Yes.
My boyfriend's really good at video games, and he's like been teaching me things slowly, which is nice because usually guys in these spaces can be very like either condescending or just really like, what do you do? Like, just why don't you know this? And I'm like, like it's hard to learn when you're scared to be taken advantage of or like looked down upon for not knowing things.
That's
so
why I play by myself.
yeah. That's fair. I do a lot of fantasy cosplay modeling and content creation, and so what you were saying, Zoe, about just like pay me, fuck you, pay me, which is in a nonprofit organization for content creators as well called Fuck You, Pay Me, that exposes like the prices that certain content creators are getting to increase pay equity. And I was like, damn, these white people are getting way more than anybody I know. So I guess my question for y'all is, how long did it take you to build up the confidence to consistently push for like the pay that you know that you deserve and get over that fear of like, if I push, then they'll just go with somebody else? Because that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I'm trying to make money from content creation, and like I do a lot of fantasy content stuff and I model, but the whole like grateful to be in the room thing is forever like, oh, I made it after 6 months, like of nothing. I'm like, oh, great, they don't want to pay me. Well, like just that fear of like, if I push for what I want, what if they walk away? Like, I know it's like, then you're better off, but still, like what was the process for you guys of like getting over that fear of like, if I push for more, what if I never get anything at all?
Can I, ladies?
Please.
Last year, with this being the 20th year of Metal Gear Solid being released, there was a concert that I did in Tokyo with all the Metal Gear songs from all of the series. It never sold out. The minute they put my name on it, the concert sold out.
I know that's right.
The first offer that they gave me to fly from Atlanta, Georgia for 14 hours
I know they
to
were trying to put you in
Tokyo,
coach.
no. Came back again. Nope. Came back again.
That's right. That's right.
Came back again. No. Finally, I have a cousin, Mark Stewart. My whole entire family is in the entertainment business. And my cousin and his wife are my managers. He called me one day and he said, listen, you gonna do this shit or what? And I was like, no. No, my airfare one way should be tripled what they're talking about. And I kept saying no and kept saying no and kept saying no, but they knew that they needed me.
That's right.
And the more I said no, the more they kept saying, okay, all right, well, we got this. Here's your fee. Here is your room. Here is your airfare. But I kept going because I was not going to let you, after all of these years, 20 years, to use my voice to make that game more and more popular than it was. Next year, when y'all see me here, I'm adding more songs to what I do out there, and it's not going to be at 9:30 in the morning either. It'll be later on after 12 that I'm out there in that atrium singing, so that you all can have me out there singing. So next year, V, when I come back, shit's gonna change. And that's all I got to say.
This is very quick from like just like a practical practical application, what you can do. This is not a joke. Build a budget, and you need to figure out what your number is where you can afford to say no. Because realistically speaking, at the beginning, I couldn't afford to say no at first. Sure. And I stacked my coins, and I knew what my number was. That you need to know the dollars and cents of what your practical life costs what you aspire to make, and you need to make those numbers work, and then you put some bass in your voice and you say no.
That's it.
I want to comment just a bit, because academia is a bit different, right? So it's similar. All the conversations are very similar. So basically in academia, you get paid based off of your productivity, your publications, your books and your articles, and how well you're known in the field, right? So like you said, not the 10 minutes left sign. Okay, so so it's important to kind of build up your portfolio in a way, right? Because people need to know who you are. So early on, I wasn't saying no to much, right? I was doing a lot of free work, right? Just because I wanted my name out there. I was okay with that, right? But once we knew our worth, once we know your worth, then that's when those negotiations start happening. And then a lot of times, if you look at my CV or my resume, you'll see I've changed institutions, because some of those institutions didn't recognize my worth and didn't recognize my value. Yep. So I'm like, I will leave now, because you're not going to exploit me. You're not going to extract all this labor from me. I will leave. And so I think that's another thing where you have to be kind of comfortable being uncomfortable for a long time, until you reach a point and reach a space of where they're acknowledging you, getting you paid what you need to be paid. But academia is one of the highest like a lot of times you think a professor's making a lot of money. No, they professors are broke. They're not making a whole lot of money. It's the people at the top, that's making a lot more money. So you just need to know your worth, but we also have to put the work in so that they can't deny us whenever, and then you can pull out the receipts, pull it all out. Like I say, I've done A, B, C, and D. You are not going to deny me what I'm worth.
That's right.
All right. I want to say something real quick. You said that you're tired of saying the same thing over and over again, because like you're saying, hey, we've given you the problems, we want solutions. I got 3 things for you. We're working. Number one of the things I do in every game that I play that has the ability to create your own character, I make all my characters dark-skinned black women that are plus size, because they're most underrepresented.
Come on now.
Because one of the things I notice is when I play those characters, I get so much hate and crap. I'm like, this is what black women go through? It's like it hits me more so I can relate. I was inspired by that and put him on the spot by Mr. Javon Gord right here, who does research in the area of diversity in gaming and expanding that outfit. So that's one aspect. Sorry, I put you on the spot, bro. I had to do it. And my friend right here, Jari Smiley, wrote a book called Torian, features a black main character. So we understand the importance of representation. So we working on it. Absolutely. It's taking time, but we want to know we fighting for you.
Absolutely.
That's all.
We know
that's
that.
All.
Absolutely. Come on now.
Yes.
Come on, black men showing up. The whole row, I see you. Jeffrey Russo. Let's also shout out Jeffrey Russo, who out here writing about it. Come on and shout out. Absolutely.
Can I just add something? Is that the diversity that even with me playing back again through Metal Gear, and I saw, okay, we had a couple black men who were medics or they were whatever in Metal Gear. There was never a black woman.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things that I have stated with Konami, I have a voice, and my voice is better than Ava's. My voice is better than the boss. So the next thing that you do, my voice should be on that game. And that's what I'm negotiating now, is to have a black woman to be represented on anything that is Metal Gear Solid. Because
That's right. So I'm going to be that person, and I do apologize, but we have time for one more question.
Hi, this might be a really quick one. Answered by the whole panel, but specifically Zoe. I appreciate also like you being a writer and just protecting your black characters, because I'm trying to do a little bit of acting, and I don't know. I really love like horror, suspense, and then also fantasy, and I never wanted to be like typecast, and that's like an issue for actors, black actors, especially women. Like you do not see a lot of roles in those types of shows and movies. And I was just like wondering what your thoughts are on just like in film, TV, fantasy of like where is it at? Where is the industry at in getting more black representation? Because you have like Rings of Power, which was, and then there is also like House of the Dragon, which was like I thought it was pretty good, but you know, there's like so much backlash in fantasy, especially when black people are added, and like with Baldur's Gate, like Karlach was supposed to be a black coded character, and then they changed her, or like people like making Will like making mods to make him white because they're upset that there is a black man there. Like what? Like it's so fucking infuriating. But like what are your thoughts, like the entire panel, but especially Zoe, and like writing of black characters in like fantasy, in like those types of roles? Thank you.
I mean, the first thing I thought about is how people were upset that Halle Bailey was the Black Little Mermaid, as if mermaids are real. I'm like, y'all need to sit down. Stop it. Who let you leave the house? Right. So as far as games and animated TV and film, because they take so long, so a project that I have with a company that is, their mascot is a rodent. I'm sure you can guess the company. Those projects take between 3 to 5 years, and we're contractually tied up for that amount of time. The development that I have seen of stories right now, there's actually a considerable amount of representation, specifically of people of color and of different size people in different size bodies coming down the pipeline. Unfortunately, they aren't really going to come out till like 2025, 2026, but that has me very excited. The problem is a lot of those representations of black people are light-skinned, or they are portrayed, especially in live action, by actors who are mixed race, specifically half white. And my children, when I have them, will be half white. There's nothing wrong with being mixed race, but the issue is you are still casting people according to a proximity to whiteness because you perceive that as more palatable. So that is going to take some time. What makes me optimistic is that you have people like Taraji P. Henson finally getting their due. You have people like Mindy Kaling moving up. She needs to work on her own internalized biases in terms of casting people. But I think the fact that there is a cultural conversation going on right now on major platforms, one of the best quotes I think about this is, gossip is a word invented by men to keep women from sharing information. So replace men and women with some marginalized group and the group in power. That applies to all of us. So as long as we are constantly engaging in an open discourse, not behind closed doors or secretly between each other over text, that is how we get actual movement going. Yep. Because I will tell you, writers of your favorite shows and movies and games, we do see what you write on the internet. And there are times where we get directives from on high where it's like, oh, we're a little bit concerned about some of the optics, and the board wants us to add this black character. I'm like, great. So actually continue tweeting about it, continue vlogging about it, because it does legitimately impact the permissions that we're given to write those characters. And also as a producer, I do a tremendous amount of casting. And if I can point to a hashtag that's trending and being like, people want to see this, can the casting department please bring in some options of some bigger people, or some people who aren't able-bodied, or some people who are over the age of 40, for God's sake. Like, that gives me ammunition as the person in the room. If I have something I can point to, that's how we actually get it done.
All right, ladies, it looks like we're coming to a close to today's interview panel. Are there any last words before we start plugging where folks can find you?
Cynthia?
No, because I don't want to embarrass you all.
You could never.
Get right.
No, she said last words. I don't want to. Let's see.
I tried to sneak a Castlevania
yes.
and the wind in there.
Yes, hopefully I'm going to be adding Castlevania next year. If I'm invited back. You can find me on Twitter. Well, they call it X now, right?
Everyone still calls it Twitter.
In here is Twitter.
Yeah. Instagram. Once I get home this week, one of my birthday presents to myself is to get whatever I need so that people can see me playing on Twitch. So I need a camera. I need whatever. Now, I'm going to be fucking up that game. So, and Konami actually said, listen, you can do it. And it's like, no, I don't want anybody seeing me messing up. That's what they want to see. So I'll be doing Twitch. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, which I really don't use that much. So I think I'm even on YouTube somewhere. So that's where you guys can find me if you need me and if you want me. And if you need me really, really bad, just send me a DM and I'll give you my personal phone number. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm not on Twitter a ton. I mean, I'm on there, but I check it like once a month maybe. It's the same handle for Instagram as it is for Twitter. So at ZMAR0129. So Zoe, short for Marshall. And my birthday is January 29th. Happy birthday to me. Oh my gosh. And where you can immediately find me next, I have a panel at 8:30 today, and I'm talking about the business of film and television and how to pitch yourself, how to get representation, how to increase your financial quotes. If you actually want to understand like more of the ins and outs of that business, whether you're just getting started or you're already in it, that's at 8:30. I don't know what room it's in, but I will figure that out because I have to be there at 8:30.
Yeah.
And for me, you can Google me if you want to connect with me. But what I would like for you to do, people in this room, I want you to connect with somebody that you might not know and share your socials and share what you do, because this is how we build networks and this is how we build connections. Somebody knows something. Somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Trick Dad in Miami. Let's go. So I want to make sure. I had to get the Miami reference with Jeffrey in here all the time. But I want to make sure that we keep this energy going. Don't let MAGFest just sit here in this space and then we done and we forgot about it to next year. Let's connect to people, make those connections, and let's build, let's support, let's uplift, let's elevate, please. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. And at 7:30, I'm going to attend the Black in Gaming panel at 7:30 in panels room. Thank you, Adonna Ned. There we go. I just want to make sure that y'all know. And y'all go there at 7:30, and then y'all go there at 8:30.
All right, so it looks like we're closing out, but I heard that there was a couple of birthdays coming up, which is real exciting. So I just need y'all to just join me in song real quick. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.